Swellview, one of the quaint cities. But was it one of the quaint cities? Not so much, given it required endless rescuing. Any promise of safety was hollow, to the extent that the residents knew it to be absurd. Henry Hart knew something was not quite right, but nothing was ever quite right in Swellview. Henry Hart was more than just any old teenager, but the heartbeat of the city. Captain Man's always reliable sidekick, battling and always defeating the psycho circus of psychotic villains who lit up the evening news with tales of relentless terror. After all, there were mad scientists, petty thieves, and the dwarf criminal, the toddler. It took real cunning to even tolerate all of that, let alone keep the city safe from these miscreants. Before this latest and most menacing of all missions, Henry recalled the time jerker's clockwork chaos and the toddler's tantrums, and how each and every battle ended with roaring crowds, cuffed villains, ironclad faith from Swellviewians, and the dynamic duo of their rendition of Gotham. But this time, Henry had more than met his match. Henry Hart staggered into the man cave with a scorched super suit, frayed from a brutal clash with the latest fiend, a maniacal chemist named Dr. Blows-Up Lab. Henry's heart was tucked away inside of a pit of despair. He choked on each and every breath. His mind and memories felt as if they were being stabbed at by lobster claws. Something was not quite right. Dr. Blows-Up Lab had unleashed a foul gas that swept through Swellview like a relentlessly zombifying agent, resulting in Swellviewians sinking fingernails and teeth into their flesh and eyes. Henry's skull was throbbing. The gas's venom seemed to be twisting, contorting his thoughts and memories into jagged, shattered shards of what it once was. Henry collapsed into the nearest chair as the man cave's sterile vibe said all it needed to say in silence, somehow. Captain Man, Ray, was lounging from across the room, snipping on a snozberry protein shake, while his grin protruded at Henry like a polished guillotine under stuttering lights. Ray, Henry rasped out, voice frayed. This isn't right, Ray. The villains, they never stay gone. It's as if we're toys. They're playing with us, Ray. As if we're toys. Ray's laugh sliced into the silence like a serrated blade. Oh, come on, kid. It's the game. That's how the secret sauce is made, you know? The villains stir the pot and we slam on the lid. Swellview sleeps easy. Nobody complains. There's a whole lot of celebration at the end of the day. Don't go chasing phantoms. Those aren't real. But the ghosts were real, and they were haunting Henry. Why did the villains ultimately, when all was said and done, slip out of their cuffs or cells? All of those schemes, the chemical spills, the plague-like gases, the citywide fevers came off choreographed with each and every one, followed by a flood of so-called miracle drugs that would spontaneously pop up in Swellview's pharmacies. Henry's hands trembled as he waited for Ray's patrol, creeping into the man cave's forbidden archives. The sterility lingered. It was impossible to ignore. It was a locked drawer, but Henry discovered a secret that would ruin everything forever. A folder stamped Top Secret Confidential and Swellview City Health Initiative. Its pages radiated a cold and predatory weight in Henry's mind. All of those contracts, emails, spreadsheets. They were difficult for him to fully comprehend, but he now knew enough. There was a highly suspicious name burned into each and every line, like a watermark. Vitacorp. Vitacorp, the pharmaceutical juggernaut, with profits and stocks surging after each and every one of the villainous attacks on the town. Millions of dollars bled out of Swellview's pharmacies, trickling into Vitacorp's blood diamond-esque vaults. All of the villain's schemes birthed a new disease of sorts. Psychotic hallucinations, searing rashes that no currently existing OTC drug could cure, and fevers that had driven normally sober minds to madness. And Vitacorp's panacea materialized as if by magic. But it wasn't magic. It was corporate collusion and cover-up. Henry's breath let out a shallow gasp as he unearthed an unforgettable memo that had been labeled Project Indestructo. It outlined Ray's invulnerability, which had been forged to life in a Vitacorp lab some decades ago. And yet, there was a deeper cut in the document, that the villains were anything but rogue madmen. They were pawns of Vitacorp, with attacks staged to test out new serums on Swellview's townspeople, as if it was a disposable petri dish. The toddlers, toxins, miniacs, nerve agents, even the doctor blows up lab gases were all products of Vitacorp and weaponized to create demand for their so-called cures. The final line of the memo was a dagger to Henry's heart. Kid Danger's role ensures public compliance. His ignorance is non-negotiable. If compromised, compromise him. The man cave's light spun on. Henry's heart slammed against his ribs as he turned around, folder slipping out of his trembling hands as the fear became overwhelming. Ray stood tall in the doorway, ember eyes glaring. Kid, Ray growled, his voice slow and suffocating. You have broken the rule, the one and only requirement, and it is a non-negotiable, as you read. Henry bolted for the door, but the man cave practically turned feral. Alarm shrieked out loud, so loud they could vibrate his bones. Red lights flashed, bleeding across the walls. Steel shutters slammed, clanging, sealing his fate. The man cave would prove to be his metallic tomb. Doctor blows up lab's nauseating gas filled and burned his lungs. Meanwhile, Ray didn't move. He didn't need to. He was soon joined by contorted silhouettes that slowly faded, transitioning into view. The enemies. Dr. Minyak, grinning like a possessed Cheshire cat. The toddler, chorting like an unhinged demon. And Dr. Blows Up Lab himself. We are not prisoned. We are architects, Henry. Minyak hissed with venom. He twirled a vial of glowing acidic liquid as if it was a cheerleader's baton. You were just a mask to sell our poisons to an overly trusting public. As Henry's gadgets sparked out and died, he found his strength lacking, wanting. The walls were closing in around him, crushing him. The villains encircled Henry, eyes gleaming sadistically, laughing like a chorus of stab wounds and gunshots to Henry's mind. And then Ray emerged with a syringe, held firmly within his grip. It is not too late for you, Henry. Ray's voice softened, but the hissing venom was clearly audible in his words, too. Henry Hart. Become the heart of our machine. Henry's scream was engulfed by the blurry man cave alarms. It was no use. There was no hope left. No fight left within him. The once comedic cast of motley villains lunged at him, pinning him against the floor, as the vial hovered inches, centimeters from his face. The glow seared, burning into his eyes. The toddler chuckled as Dr. Blowsuplab's gas populated within Henry's lungs, distorting his thoughts into pure chaos. Ray loomed from above as the syringe descended for a first yet final stab. Welcome to the real Swellview, Ray whispered. Morning had dawned. Swellview woke up to the usual cheery headlines. Kid danger crushes chemical curse. The pharmacies were yet again a battlefield, with Vitacorp's latest cure vanishing into the mobs. And yet, deep within the man cave, a new figure stood beside Captain Man, his suit polished and pristine. Yet his eyes were hollow, as if graves. A syringe's scar marked him like a farmer's branding beneath his sleeve.